You start speaking Italian and, wanting a cigarette and a cappuccino when you start driving this thing. I'll tell you what, man, the Italian Commodore, the Italian Falcon. Now in Australia, we love our big sedans, 4 doors, rear-wheel drive, and a lot of power. And on this episode, we're actually gonna be checking out what the Italians decided to make, because we got a 2017 Alfa Romeo Giulia Quadrifoglio, and it's got the recipe. It's got 4 doors, you can fit the family in the back if you want to, rear-wheel drive, and we got a bi-turbo V6 that pumps out over 500 horsepower from factory. So this thing, if HSV and FPV was still here, it'd be competing with it. So we're gonna get in this thing, we're gonna review it, we're gonna launch it, and we're gonna see what the Italians actually had to offer. Alright guys, in the Giulia Quadrifoglio, and bro, let me just tell you, the paddle shifters in this thing are absolutely next level, because they are proper metal. They're ice cold when you got the aircon on, and mounted to the column, it is an absolute vibe. This is, I feel like, what Italians do. They like to have red cars and go fast. And this absolutely does that. It does. It just simply does. Oh my goodness. Now I'm going to tell you guys, this particular one, it has been tuned. So everything is essentially stock here. It's just had a tune done. It's putting the power to the rear wheels. So we're sitting just over 500 horsepower at the rear wheels. Over 700 Newton meters of torque in this thing now. 8-speed ZF, 2.9 liter V6 bi-turbo. And this thing, guys, you'll hear the rumors, it's derived off essentially the twin turbo V8 Ferrari motor. So they cut off 2 cylinders, and you start speaking Italian and, wanting a cigarette and a cappuccino when you start driving this thing. I'll tell you what, man, geez. It's one of those, it's just got that emphasis, hey? And you can only imagine how cool it would be actually to drive something like this in Italy. I think you'd get some absolute creditation. Now these cars, they're not cheap here in Australia. When this came out in 2017, it was gonna be 150 grand plus on roads. And that's a lot of coin, it really is. You wanna get a brand new one, 2024, they're still selling these. It's gonna be about 180 grand if you want one that's pretty kitted out. On the used market though, you're probably looking around that 90 to 100 grand. And honestly, you're sort of looking, I guess, around that HSV GTS territory for a later model. GTSR, you're looking at more. So I think this is I really do think this is kind of an interesting concept though, because it is almost like the Italian Commodore, the Italian Falcon. Maybe is better suited because it is turbo, and you can fit the people in the back. It's got 4 doors, rear-wheel drive, and it's got some spice to it. It absolutely does. Really quick shifts. And it cuts the corner really well, guys. Wow. So obviously, guys, we've got a carbon tail shaft in this thing. It does have a carbon roof as factory, carbon bonnet. It's a pretty serious machine. You know, we've got an LSD at the back. We've got these nice 19-inch wheels, decent rubber on here, and yeah, look, it's any Alfa, if you own an Alfa, you're a car enthusiast, because you're not going to buy this thing for its reliability. You're not going to buy this thing for its practicality. You know, you're not buying this thing like any other car buyer really should do. To me, it is sort of like that HSV FPV car buyer, where they're buying it just because it's an Alfa, just because it's an HSV, it's an FPV, just because they like the way it looks and sounds. And that I can totally gel with. I understand that, and I see it right here. And again, we chuck it over into the sports mode. We're in dynamic. Wow. Let me tell ya. Let me tell ya. You need them big Alfa brakes up front and in the rear, because, dude, there's a difference between hitting boost half on it and full pedal commitment. Because when you just flat foot this pedal, it really does throw you in the back and into the seat here, and you can feel what everybody loves with the Barra, with the turbo. It's got that very strong turbo torque mid-range, just throws you into the seat. And wow, I really wasn't expecting that. You know, obviously with a bi-turbo setup too, generally it sort of has that more linear progression, but this, it keeps building and it pushes you, man. It's quick, no doubt about it. Absolutely. Very nice steering feel. It's nice in the corners. It rides all right. You know, we got adaptive dampers in here, so this bit of road is pretty rough, and even in dynamic, it seems to soak it. Now inside, it's nowhere near to the level I would say as a C63, even a BMW, the M3, you know, even an Audi. I think this is definitely, without a doubt, the most POV pack. You know, HSV was probably doing a better interior than this. Maybe FPV, it's on that level, unfortunately, and I love FPV, but it's pretty POV pack. But again, what I say, it's not why you buy this thing. You buy this thing because it's an Alfa, because it's got that Quadrifoglio badge on the side, and because it's got that Italian heritage, that built with charm and character when it's running, and you're just a fan. And, you know, again, I've never been an Alfa Romeo person, but doing some research on this car, I didn't actually understand the huge, rich history of Alfa Romeo in racing. You know, that Quadrifoglio badge that you see on the side with the clover and the triangle, it's been around since 1923. You know what I mean? Like, this thing, there's a rich history here, guys. Over 100 years, really. And it's impressive. I love that they're still in business. I love that they're still making cars. And I gotta say, I quite like this Quadrifoglio, this Giulia. Now, guys, again, if you're enjoying this content, make sure you subscribe, hit the like button, leave a comment. What do you reckon on me saying this is the Italian Commodore or the Italian Falcon? A lot of you might not agree, but I just think it's got that sort of basic inside. Yes, it's got carbon and stuff, but this is pretty basic for the price point we're talking. And I don't know, they seem to focus everything on the engine. They've got it making a nice note. It's pretty much stock here with a tune, and we're getting decent numbers. So I see the relevance, and I hope some of you guys might as well, but leave a comment. One of my favorite things about this is that it has the start-stop button just on the steering wheel, and I just think that's such a cool feature. It's little things like that, you know, from the big metal paddles as well, little carbon accents on the inside, on the outside as well. It's those little things that kind of make me fall in love with this car. Would I buy one of these? I'm not convinced. I'm not sure, because it's a lot of money and it is an Alfa, but I fully understand the people that do. Alrighty guys, now 0 to 100, powered by C-Tech. We're gonna check out what this Quadrifoglio can do. It's claimed at 3.9. I don't think we're gonna get close to that, honestly, on a back road, but we've just got it in race mode. It's just in drive. Reset the draggy. Here we go. Come on. Yeah, it's just that instant off the line. It just has a little bit of hesitance. I'm not sure. Apparently, I'm not sure if there's a launch control mode, guys. I haven't been able to figure it out. The owner didn't know either. But let's have a look at the time because, dude, once it's going, it's ripping, man. Now, I've just got a 4.6. I've done it a couple of times. And honestly, guys, I'm just going to leave it at that. This thing is squirrely. It is just a struggle to get this thing off the line. You can't even really build the revs up because it just seems to instantly break traction. And yeah, I mean, I can very well see you getting very low 4s if you get a perfect launch. Yeah, it's a weapon. It's Italian, it's got quirks, and it's red. And I actually really like this thing. I think it's pretty cool. All right, now it's time for the WiperTech wiper test, and I think this could be quite funny in an Italian car. So we're gonna find out how to operate these wipers, which actually it's on the right-hand side, and we pull them back. Oy. Hey, we get a pretty good spread. It is actually quite streaky. Leaves a little bit there too. Obviously, guys, if you want the best wipers, and it seems to go by itself now. Anyways, use my code. It's Ross15 off. The link's down below. It's WiperTech, and they're the best in Australia. They get the job done. You're gonna get 50% off, and you're gonna get free express shippings. Yeah, the thing with this car, it wants to go up top, and when you do, you're on the limit, boy. And when you're in race mode, everything gets turned off, so you're on your own. And I like that, but it does slide. Oh, it definitely does. I love the noise. I love the feeling of that turbo on this. You know, they really push you back, those bi-turbos. Look, guys, we're going to finish the video off here today. So what did we think of the Giulia Quadrifoglio? Well, look, man, I actually like this thing. I wasn't sure going into the video, but I've always liked the way these cars looked. The bi-turbo V6, I mean, what's not to like? I mean, yes, it's not a V8, yes, it's not an inline 6, but dude, it makes power. It makes a heck of a noise. It puts you in the seat, and yeah, it's balanced. This thing's balanced. So, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, hit the like button, subscribe. We'll see you on the next one.